Are we in a bear market? In this video, I'm going to answer that exact question. You've probably seen some other videos on YouTube. You're probably wondering, where are we actually going? You're hearing mixed opinions. Some people have been calling the top forever. Other people have been calling altcoin season forever. So in this video, I'm actually going to go through the data. Currently, if we have a look at Bitcoin right now, this is the current price. The current price is $104,000. Now, at this current price, which you've probably seen at every single level, you're going to see the same things on social media. No, when we were at 96,000, it was, we are so over, everything's over. Solana was crashing at this stage. I think even Pump Fund was crashing, and everybody lost hope in the markets, right? I'm not here to tell you that we are going to have hope. You'll find out very soon. But that was the sentiment of the market. As we hit all-time highs, the sentiment was, we are so back. We're seeing narratives like, we did kind of see altcoin season, I would even say, because we see narratives like perpetual dexes, right? We've seen Aster do amazing. We've seen a lot of people speculate on stable coins, which all went to zero, like stable, etc. And then let's take you all the way back to over here at the end of March, going into April, it was the exact same. In fact, I even thought we was entering the bear market. Full transparency, I've been mostly stable coins since Trump, because we made a lot of money on the 30-day live stream marathon. We traded meme coins every single day. And then I thought, right, 70K, BTC's finished. A lot of people thought that. And that wasn't the case. Let's take you all the way back. Let's have a look at the glory days. In my opinion, this was the state of the market where it was at our best. This was January times, leading out of December. This was a stage where we had this double top. This was where people were calling the double top, as we might have seen in previous cycles. And again, it was a stage of, we are so back, the market's great. And every single time, it's pretty much the same theory of, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back, and now we are back in that stage of it's so over. There is an opinion that it being over is different. That being said, is because of the 4-year cycle. So if we do have a look at the cycles where we have been going through, you will know that this bull market, if we value it from the absolute pico bottom to where we are now, has been 1,000 days. So if we was to complete the 4-year cycle, you would in fact say the 4-year cycle is complete. Now, we have seen something completely different to what we have seen in previous cycles, whereas we haven't had any indicators pop off. I'm going to go over those indicators. And we also haven't seen an altcoin season. In fact, if you remember in this double top scenario, which we've seen over here, we had an altcoin season in both areas. If you guys remember Paid Network, CDFI, PokerStar, you'll also remember Ethereum going from $400 to a couple $1,000. This was a stage of the market where even your top altcoins had some amazing performers. We also see meme coins perform extremely well over here. If you guys remember BNB days, or the times when people were farming rewards from like these types of Ponzi's, right? Now, with that being said, this time was a little bit different. This whole entire cycle was a little bit different because we never seen an altcoin season. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, I'm sure you guys have been studying Bitcoin dominance recently. You'll know that we never seen this Bitcoin dominance collapse as we see in every single cycle. If we have a look over here and we go into, let's say, December, we've seen that from December to May, we basically seen a 3-month rally for altcoins, right? And that was where we had that double top with Bitcoin. And that time again was a purist altcoin season. A lot of coins were performing very well. You wouldn't have to be an expert to even trade, and pretty much everything was performing. You could just be an absolute monkey and made money. Same thing in the previous cycle in 2018. We also seen a 3-month bull run, and we've seen BTC dominance collapse. This time, we never seen that. We had small moments of that, like very, very brief moments of that in that stage of, you know, October, November, December, okay, before the tariffs. And then we had brief moments of that over here as well in the previous December, where people were speculating, including myself. I was speculating that we was going to have an altcoin season. I was bidding on actual alts. I was going back into Paid Network, back into CDFI, back into those types of projects, right? Where before we realized that was a predominantly meme coin season as well. Now, if we look at the macro and we just block out the noise and we're only looking at a chart here, you will see we have this macro resistance line since the inception of BTC dominance over here since about 2017 up until now. And you'll see every single time we've hit that resistance level, we hit it in 2021, we rejected. We hit it actually over here in July, which is when obviously we had the start of a brief 2-week altcoin season as well. And we rejected. And we're actually on our way to either put in a lower high or actually come up all the way back up to that resistance line right now as well. Now, with that being said, if we look at, let's say, the total crypto market cap, it looks absolutely abysmal and it has never, ever reversed. However, we have seen volume increase dramatically. In fact, you could say we have actually a divergence because volume is going through the roof, but the price just continues to go down for actually every single altcoin. Now, the question that you've been wondering, right, and the question I want to answer in this video is, are we in a bear market? Okay, and I'm going to give you a yes or no answer in this video. No, instead of just speculating and say could go up, could go down, it's okay. I'm actually going to give you a yes or no. So if we go through the cycles and we look at actually the crypto market cycles, unlike previous cycles where we have had at least one indicator ping, one indicator, like something has said, right, bear market territory, we're overbought, right? Things are getting a little bit overheated. We haven't had that, right? If we look at the Puel multiple, okay, you can see at each stage, we've gone into this overvalued territory, right? But this time round, since 2017, we've actually never been into this overvalued territory. Now, you could say that we're putting in lower highs, right? High, low, lower high, low, lower high. That's actually, it's a decent case. But in that case, it will tell you that, you know, 71K was a top. Okay, it would also tell you that maybe 105K was a top. But in my opinion, I don't think that's true. As well as if we look at the Pi Cycle top indicator, Pi Cycle top indicator has not hit, even though both moving averages have got extremely close. They have not converged or crossed at any stage, and they haven't even got to a point where they're even closer to cross. If we look at the rainbow chart in the top right over here, you see that even the rainbow, okay, in my opinion, I think is going to be diminishing returns. At one stage, we'll go into red. Okay, maybe the next stage, the high was in the orange. And the next stage, I do think the high should be in the yellow. Okay, but again, we haven't gotten to that stage yet. So not one indicator has flagged red, which in my opinion, I don't think that it is a bear market. Okay, I don't think it is a bear market. I'm going to explain to you how I am going to be actioning this, because that doesn't mean that I'm going to be going all in. Now, because I don't think it's a bear market, does that mean that I'm buying every single dip? No. Okay, as I said, I've already been in stables since Trump launched a meme coin. Okay, but when I look at this market, my question I have to ask myself, and I find myself asking myself this a lot recently, is how can we have a pathetic bull run and expect a major bear market? Okay, I don't think it makes sense. On top of that, right, this dip, the reason why this dip was caused was simply BlackRock. If we have a look over here, it says breaking news, BlackRock just started dumping Bitcoin again. They sold 24,000 BTC worth 2.75 billion, and they keep selling every single hour. Now, BlackRock actually facilitates transactions, which means that it's probably the users on BlackRock's platform. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's BlackRock. Now, most people, when we've seen that BlackRock were buying Bitcoin, when we're seeing that ARK and all these other companies were starting to buy Bitcoin, we thought that that would mean that institutions are finally in the market and that we're finally going to see like a really macro bull run. Remember, when Bitcoin first started out, the goal of Bitcoin was that we knew that institutions were going to have to start adopting it, that countries were going to start having to adopt it, and it became this thesis that ended up playing out. Countries have started to adopt Bitcoin. BlackRock and obviously other major companies, which basically have the same GDP as countries, have also started to buy and purchase Bitcoin. However, most of the companies, not the countries, but the companies, in my opinion, they only want the fees. I don't think that they see Bitcoin as the future of technology. I think what they have done, this is just a thesis, my personal thesis, is exactly the same as what we've seen in the Launchpad era. We see Meteora basically fund the war of the launchpads and eat off the fees and never reinvest back into the industry. So they launch their own coin and do their own thing, which is fine. We're also seeing, Pasternak with Believe, right? If you remember, just Believe, right? And originally, for those of you guys that don't remember Believe was launched originally as a meme coin. It was just a meme coin. And then it became this big AI project and it became a launch pad. And in my opinion, he was just in over his feet. This was somebody which in crypto, this happens. Sometimes everything just plays right and you end up just in over your feet. And this is what happened to Pasternak. And as you can see, this is the result of that when we value these types of people that just want to take out the industry and just want to take the fees, okay? Whereas when we have a look at Pump Fund, we have a look at Pump, they're reinvesting into the ecosystem, probably one of the best technology to ever come out. Even if you don't like using Pump Fund, if you look at just the data of how many people they've onboarded, how many people actually use it on a daily basis, everybody trades meme coins on Pump Fund, right? It's probably one of the best pieces of tech to come out of crypto, in my personal opinion. Does it mean that it's the best thing? It just turned out to be the best piece of tech. Now, that is one of the things which is taken away from this BTC dominance. If we think about altcoin season last cycle, all of the alts, if you wanted to buy anything, it would have been a major altcoin. Now, a lot of the alts, when we talk about ICM, which is internet capital markets, when we talk about CCM, which are creator capital markets, a lot of these were meme coin predominant markets, and they're just not trading at the valuations that the other projects used to trade at. You used to be able to just run a fork of an L1 and just basically copy paste the L1, and that thing would instantly be valued at the billions. In fact, some coins that are still in the top 10 to this day, nobody's ever used them. If I was to say to you, who has ever used, like actually sat and used Chainlink, you probably haven't used Cardano, probably haven't used XLM, Sui, barely anybody uses it. HBAR, AVAX sold most of their supply at OTC about 8 months ago, 50% off, nuked the price. Nobody uses AVAX, nobody plays games on AVAX either. Litecoin, no one uses it. Ton, who uses Ton? Nobody, right? BitTensor Tau, nobody really uses that either. Barely anyone uses Uniswap. Uniswap's obviously good, but barely anyone uses it, right? A lot of the coins that we see in there, the reason why they had such a great start was because there was just nothing to choose from, right? Now we're in this area in crypto where you can choose to buy a lot of these coins. There's infinite amounts of coins launched every single day. And in my opinion, if those same founders were launching coins last cycle, some of them would probably be up here today. I wouldn't be surprised if Launchcoin was fucking up here today, right? And in my opinion, that is what has extracted from this BTC dominance. I do think that if this was the case as it was last cycle, we would have already seen BTC dominance down here. We would have already had a euphoric altcoin season. Now, okay, with that being said, there is a lot of money. I know some people think, well, we've had billions of liquidations lost every single week. Every single month we see another major collapse. So how can there be more money left, right? That is the question. I wanted to show you guys this. And this is actually very, very funny. I was going on stream yesterday. I just wanted to have a look. I was going to be interested in pivoting to stocks. I thought, let me pivot to stocks. I want to actually see what people are investing into in the stock market. It must be very good. And I'm hearing a lot of stuff about people making a bunch of money. We know Palantir is performing well. We know Nvidia is performing very, very well. We know the stock market is making highs pretty much every single day. And if I look at some of the engagement on this video, you see here like almost 1 million subscribers, 74,000 views, right? You know, there's people in crypto right now, meme coins, or even actually in general crypto, that have 1 million subscribers and they're pulling in 10, 20,000 views on the video, right? So I wanted to actually have a look at this. I don't know who this guy is, probably a cool guy, but just listen to this.
A huge opportunity coming up this week. And if you're around here with Coach, I want you guys to be ready, okay? So listen, as always, I got a jam-packed video, so please keep it locked. Please make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure this video get leaked. Pay yourself first. Matter of fact, from this day forward, every Monday, and let's teach y'all my whole process of how I invest and build wealth. Okay, we leave that part out too much. Yes, I get busy trading, but we make as a family. At least do one. Okay, I want you to pay yourself up. Does that make sense? Do this same thing with the ones you want to choose, but I'm also picking ones for you that I know that's going
So
to
he's picking
go
stocks right
take
now.
off. All right. So look, man, we inside of the Moo, and we're gonna do the 100K challenge out of here. We're gonna paper trade in here. I'm gonna teach you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna change your life. All right, but listen, let's get to it real quick. All right, go here. I always gotta get my crypto in. All right, so look, this is BMNR. I told you this was $30. It's going to $60. From 60, it's going to $100. Okay, Ethereum and Bitcoin, respectively, are going to go to 15 and 3 trading hours limit. All right.
All right, so I don't want to sit there and bore you with this, but if you have like common sense, you kind of get that. Well, personally, I get this reminder of like these channels last cycle, even like early in the meme coin, even my channel, right? Was like low quality videos, not engaging at all, and not like look at Crypto, right? Crypto, multi-millionaire, $10 million trade. You understand why people listen to him, right? This guy's super cool, bunch of respect for him. But this just screams that like in this industry, in stocks, there's attention on just random videos, right? Let's get on to not the Indian version.
What did he say?
Let's get into Fox News, right?
Do all right at the opening bell. NASDAQ especially, it's up 200 points. Keith Fitz back with us this morning. Okay, Keith, you know the story. Palantir reports after the bell. You recommended it way back when at $8 a share. So, are you going to buy?
$8 a share, just about 2 years ago. So the same price. So it was at $8 at the same price when Solana was at $8, and Palantir has just been a lot stronger. But Palantir has a lot more liquidity as well. People putting in millions and millions of dollars into Palantir. Palantir's at $205, and right now on the stock market, it's peak euphoria, like peak euphoria. I would go through like a bunch of these videos, but this will make this video like 30 minutes long. But if you just look at some of these videos, guys, they're full-blown chilling. Everything's at all-time high. And if you watch any of these guys, the next thing this guy says is, I think it's going to go to 2,000. I think it's going to go to 3,000. It just reminds me of what crypto was at. I remember when Bitcoin was at all-time high, I remember being there and everybody was saying Bitcoin's going to $100,000. I remember when some random altcoins, your friend would come up to you and he'd say, bro, get a bag of this altcoin, it's going to change your life. That's the types of things that people were saying. In crypto right now, we can't even say that type of stuff. I can't even have that stuff in a thumbnail. Your video will get banned, right? But for some reason, in stocks right now, they are saying the most outlandish stuff and just getting away with it. They're saying things that I can't even say on this channel, right? And then just getting away with it. It is peak euphoria out there right now. And I'm not a hater. I want to get involved, right? And I don't even think it's the top. I think it's a bubble. Michael Burry also thinks it's a bubble. If you didn't know, Michael Burry has put 80% of his portfolio actually on a short of Palantir and Nvidia. So if you look at Michael Burry, he's put a massive short on Palantir and also on over here. Okay, he said sell I think it's actually an old tweet over here. I'd love to find the tweet for you, but he actually put 80% of his portfolio, so billions of dollars, he's putting a short on Nvidia and stuff like this as well, because he sees this type of stuff. He sees the same shit I'm seeing, right? You can't say, when people are saying those types of stuff, if they were saying it in crypto, it will be a top signal. However, if we have a look over here, gold's at all-time high, Nvidia's at all-time high, Apple's at all-time high, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, silver is becoming a beta play. I was at the spa yesterday. A guy was shilling me silver. He's like, bro, you should get a bag of silver, bro. Trust me. Like, he's shilling it like a beta play. Right? Like when, I know Trump's running and the guy's trying to show me Melania. BTC is running and the guy's trying to tell me about Ethereum. Like, it's just, it's the same shit, right? But just on a different industry and category. And the only thing that is down right now is Bitcoin. So when we talk about the money, circle it back, and we talk about where's the money going to come from, I genuinely think the money comes from the stock market. Now, the only thing that I don't know is that does the stock market pull back and does Bitcoin go back even more before we rotate and Bitcoin outperforms the stock market? Maybe. That's a possible scenario, right? If we actually look at Bitcoin right now, you know, my personal targets is, number one, we're still in this upwards channel, right? If we actually have a look at this upward channel, one thing that interests me a lot, which I don't think a lot of people actually want to talk about, is that the price was 73,000, okay, which was one of the highs, right? One of the previous highs when we actually made an early all-time high just after halving. Then we dipped as low as 52,000. And again, at the time when it's way so back, we're at all-time high. Obviously, we reject. And then it becomes, okay, you know, maybe Bitcoin comes all the way back down to 34K. These are the things that people can see. And you see it all over YouTube, right? Those videos are still up there to this day. Then we go up to all-time high again. It's way so back. Bitcoin comes back down to 74,000. I wouldn't be surprised. And I'll say this, you know, wholeheartedly with a full chest. I wouldn't be surprised for this to be another scenario where Bitcoin comes back down to the 96, 97K. That would still keep us in an uptrend, right? I really want you to focus on this. If you actually just, you know, listening to this video, or maybe you're at work or something like this, I really want you to focus on this, right? We could come down to 96,000 and still be in a upwards trending market. Again, I told you that the issue is obviously the 4-cycle theory, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're in a bear market yet. A bear market for me is breaking this structure. A bear market for me, okay, which is where I'll be at jiu-jitsu twice a day, right? I'll be going back and taking care of my health because we've neglected that a little bit, okay? Will be when we break $96,572, okay? But I can assure you, if we bounce from here, right, it will definitely be a weaker bounce. If we bounce from here, putting a new high around about $136,000, $140,000, people will be saying again, we are so back. And people will be round tripping all of their gains again. It will happen. It always happens. The same shit every single time, which is the reason why I deleted Twitter off my phone. Guys, if you're on, you have a phone, just remove Twitter. You don't need it because the opinions are just irrelevant. The only thing that is relevant right now, okay, is the charts, right? And the only thing that's relevant right now is the fact that no indicators have flicked red. So, how do I actually plan on taking action on this, right? I've explained to you my thoughts, okay? Very clear again. I'll say it one more time. I don't think it's a bear market. I have been 90, well, actually, at one stage I was not 90. I moved down to like 70. Now I'm back at about 90 again, % stable coins since Trump, right? Reason for that is because that is the top signal for meme coins. That's as simple as that. The president's launched a meme. There's no more future catalyst. The last time we had a major meme catalyst was when Elon Musk was shilling Dogecoin. That was a major thing. Then he went on Saturday Night Live. That was the top for Dogecoin for the foreseeable future. It's the same thing for meme coins. We haven't seen meme coins run into the billions or even the hundreds of millions since Trump. We haven't seen that level of degeneracy, right? We had a brief manipulated run for BNB, But as you'll see, if you check those wallets that were trading BNB, running these coins to 400 million, we haven't seen them ever since, right? So tells me that it's probably the 4Meme team. It's the fact that 4Meme coin token went to zero, all these other memes went up, and then we never seen those people in the trenches again. Interesting, right? So for me personally, I think that this wave, if, which is not a guarantee, if we bounce from 96,500 or around this range, you could even say, you know, we could find support here, right? But this range right here, if we find some sort of support around here and we bounce back up to the highs up here, this wave will be led by the exact same narrative that is on the stock market. We're talking AI, we're talking GPUs, we're talking X402, we're talking these types of narratives. Now, I'm not betting a house on this, but I really do think those are going to be the narratives. Because the stock market, just like any market, when you're in euphoria, you can stay there for a long time. A lot of times when we get into this stage where we're in extreme fear, we think that extreme fear is just going to bounce back to extreme greed. It doesn't work like that. You're going to stay in extreme fear for a long time. What people don't realize, the people that are calling for a bear market, okay, you're going to be in a bear market for a long time. Things are extremely boring. There's no volume. And when you're down there, you're wrecked, completely wrecked, right? Hopefully your portfolio is not wrecked, but just the market in general, right? There's a reason why I don't bet on meme coins for a bounce. When we go into extreme greed, which is, in my opinion, the stock market's in extreme greed, because you have retail, and retail are led by just like YouTube channels in general, led by the news channels, like the news is literally shilling, top blasting. I cannot believe I witnessed this. I still can't get over this. Hopefully it's not just me. If you actually just watch these videos, find it so entertaining, it is retarded. Yeah. That's what keeps these markets pushing. That's what keeps it going super high, right? In crypto, it's your people like your Raoul Pal, you know, your professional guys in a suit and tie. You believe him, you're listening to the guy. He's already a billionaire. His portfolio is structured in many different ways. He actually doesn't affect him if it goes down. But some people will full port the top of Palantir and say, right, we're going to $2,000. It doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen straight away. Might take 5-10 years. Okay, by that time you probably sold the bomb. I think this is where the money comes from. I genuinely think the money rotates from this into BTC. It's very easy and to transition from AI in one industry to AI in crypto, as long as these things continue going and we start to actually have some distribution between them. On the same platform, on your eToro, you can diversify from a stock like Palantir directly into Bitcoin, for example. It's easy. You do 2 buttons and you're going, okay, sell that, buy that. You know, nowadays, especially even with Solana being listed now as well, the transition between the capital is actually very, very easy. Okay, we actually seen that with a lot of the Bitcoin stocks. When Bitcoin was flying, a lot of people were degenerately gambling on Bitcoin stocks. Okay, so with that being said, I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. That's kind of where I think we're going. And I genuinely think in this space, people just don't think. We don't think, right? We rely on other people to think for us. We rely on, or maybe you guys are relying on me to think for you. But I just want you to critically think about it. How can we have a bear market like before if we didn't have a bull market like before? How can we have a 4-year cycle like before in terms of the whole entire market, not Bitcoin? Bitcoin performed perfectly, but in terms of the whole entire market, if we didn't have a 4-year cycle like before, right? Things are inherently different. Does that mean that we have a little bit longer of a bull run? Does that mean we have a little bit, maybe we have an earlier bear market? Okay. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. Those are mine. If you get time, please just go on YouTube after this, stocks, and have a look at some of these videos. Look at the news. Look at how people are shilling these stocks to you. Ask a friend who's in the stock market how they're feeling right now. I'll assure you they're feeling very euphoric. everything just gone up only. Every day is in the green, right? And ask them how high you think this thing's going to go in. They're going to say it's going to keep on going higher. And then apply that mindset if somebody was shilling you, you know, the next best crypto project, right? Obviously, the difference with stocks that a lot of people are going to say is, well, they have real use cases, they have real technology. I understand that. Yes, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, you know, Google, Amazon do. But do you know what happens when these things get really high where they're at right now? What's currently happening right now? People are looking for the next Google. They're looking for the next Nvidia. They're going down that list of stocks. There are some stocks down there, these penny stock looking things that people are not checking the balance sheets for. They're not checking the real use technology, and they're just buying the chart. That's what happens. Bitcoin is real. It has real tech. It has real use cases. Everything else doesn't, right? And then that's naturally what people do. You go down the list, till the list is no more, and that's what altcoin season is, right? So appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Crazy times. Hopefully, better times ahead. Peace.